Grande, thank you so much for being my first guest.
I'm so honored.
I am honored.
I'm so honored. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm your first guest on Holding Space with Tracy E. Gilchrist. Are you kidding?
And I did my hair like yours just for the occasion.
We're twinning. Look at us. Yeah, just for the occasion. I've never seen that style on you before. Brand
never
new.
Seen it. Never done it before. I have a central question, which I did not prepare you for, but I think you're gonna nail it.
Yeah, I don't like to know the questions anyway.
So, as you know, I went viral for talking about holding space with the lyrics of Defying Gravity. And what I was intending in that moment was, it was 2 days after the presidential election. Those lyrics were hitting in a different way.
Yes.
And giving some people some solace, some inspiration, maybe strength. So I wonder, would you talk about what your holding space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity is? Like, what is that piece of art, music, movie, TV, a book that shows up for you when you need it and maybe even changes meaning over time?
Oh, absolutely. That's a really beautiful question.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I feel like in my life, there's many things that I would say that kind of categorizes. There's been a couple times in my life where I didn't realize that I was doing it. So like, for instance, there's a song by Imogen Heap, who is like a big inspiration of mine. It's from a song called The Walk. So it's a song called The Walk, and I didn't understand the meaning of it. And I listened to it and I digested these lyrics and I was obsessed with them, but I didn't understand the meaning of it until I had a breakup. And she says, your eyelids bulldozed the life out of me. And I never understood that until I went through this breakup. And when that moment when I said, like, I need to break up with you, and like just that moment where his eyes were closed.
Yeah.
And like he was just kind of absorbing it and not quite understanding it. I was like, oh my God, letting your eyelids bulldoze the life out of me. That's what she's talking about. And it all clicked like in that moment. And it's like, especially with Imogen's work, I have found that songs that I've committed to memory, I don't fully understand until I'm exactly where she was when she wrote that song. And when I hit that spot, that sweet spot, it clicks. And the beauty about it is I don't feel alone anymore. I don't feel alone in my feelings anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's what holding space for Defying Gravity means.
Yeah.
At least to me, is that like a song that I have been singing my whole life, Defying Gravity. I never thought about it ever in my life did I think about it outside the context of Wicked. But then when you have a fascist president and we're talking about a government that is trying to overthrow the entire populace by the use of propaganda, like, and was just elected president of the United States and is papering the town with flyers that say killed a witch, you're like, holy shit, Defying Gravity is hitting so differently today.
I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about kind of really celebrating that queer femme energy.
Yes. I would love to. Thank you.
Yes.
Because I do feel, it's very interesting, really gay men like me go into that locker room and the clothes come off and then all of a sudden we have to butch it up to attract other men.
Yes.
Which I think is very weird and interesting, right? Because I go in there looking like this.
Right.
And then I take my clothes off and I'm still looking like this because I've got makeup on my face and like it'll smear. And that's why like in the music video, I was like, I need to have makeup running down my eyes because when I go into the steam room, that's what happens to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's not necessarily, like, it's not acceptable. You're not going to like get a boyfriend doing that in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to like, be successful for your endeavors for the day unless you really butch it up. And I think that's so interesting to watch these really queer, very effeminate men like get into their towels and be like, yo, bro, what's good? And it's like, whoa, where is that thing where we're not allowed to be like overtly queer or overtly femme in those settings? Like we're still propagating that stereotype from when we were beaten in the locker rooms in high school when they were like, butch it up, fat. I just watched Boots, which is the best TV show I've ever seen in my life.
It's so good.
And it's like that mentality of like, like, well, why are you hard? right? Like, like butch it up. We're in the locker room. Even if you're in there to have sex with another man, you still have to be masculine presented. You cannot be effeminate in those settings. And so I wanted to reclaim that space for the queer femboys, to like re-own power bottom. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we do most of the work, bitch. Do you know what I'm saying?
You've called it a power bottom anthem.
It is a power bottom anthem. Yeah. Like, why are we shaming power bottoms? Like, you tops need them.
I mean,
we serve a purpose in the community.
It's in the name. Power is in the name.
Bottom. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, so that was my thing. I was in the locker room and I was beating my face in the gym, which also I've never seen anyone else do. Yeah. Ever in my life have I seen another man in the gym in a towel putting on a full face of makeup and like a lash and a lip. I do it all the time. And I was literally listening to boys and I was like, this is so funny because I'm watching all these men who I know are going to have little tiny shorts and like little nipple things, and like they're gonna walk out of here looking like queers in the loveliest sense of the word. But who are just like, yo, what's up, everybody? Like, how you doing? Like, great workout session. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Thriving in sobriety doesn't mean that it's easy. And I would like to tell everybody that's listening to this and is struggling with either staying sober or with getting sober. Like, being sober doesn't mean life is perfect. Being sober means you do life on life's terms. And that means that sometimes it's hard.
It's hard.
And sometimes it's just as dark as when you were drinking and using. The only difference is you have more senses about you, and you have more experience to make you choose life. Yeah. And that was the thing. Like, in that hotel room in London, like, I can't believe I chose life. Let me say that. There was no reason for me to choose life because I was so gone with the drugs and the using and the depression and the I didn't want to live. I didn't want to live. I had no desire to live anymore. So the fact that I chose life, that's the miracle that I wanted to commemorate in that song and give others hope that they could also make that choice. Yeah. Nowadays, when things are dark, it's way more likely I'm going to choose life, right? Because I've had this beautiful life for the past 8 years. I've rekindled the relationships. I've rebuilt the bridges that I had burned. So I have a lot more going for me. I have a husband. I have a dog. Yeah. I have a career. There's way more likelihood that I'm going to say, you know what, that champagne's not going to be worth it because I've got more wherewithal and more sobriety under my belt. But it's still a daily reprieve, So like today I'm sober, thank God. I got to wake up, I got to do it all over again tomorrow. One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
Keep working it.
I will. Yeah, it works if you work it.
It works if you work it. Yay! So you were on the Wicked tour and you see your sister kind of working her whole body off and promoting this incredible film in which she is just a killer. There's a lot of slings and arrows at her for various reasons. And then literally in Singapore, somebody jumped out at her. Yeah. And I wonder, would you talk a little bit about being her big brother and wanting to protect her?
Oof. It's really... I am Cynthia in that moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was there, I would have been arrested. If I was I was on the other side of the barricade. So I was on the same side as where that guy was. So I wasn't able to get to Ariana in any sort of quick way. I would have been murdered. But I'd be in jail right now if I was on that side. Yeah. Because I am her big brother in that way, and all I want to do is protect her. And it's just, in that moment when something scary like that happens, I just, I freeze, I panic. I don't know that I don't know that I want to get good at it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that that's a thing where it's like, we should practice this. Like, no, let's not ever again.
Because you don't want that to have to be the case.
Right. Yeah. But it is like, it was a scary moment for me. I was definitely very triggered from other stuff in our past. And I was just, like, what's going on? But then as soon as I saw her smiling and interacting and like really bounce right back into it, I was at peace. Good. You know what I'm saying? I was like, she's doing okay. And I don't want to run out there and like be like, are you okay?
And kind of
yes.
rehash
So I'm
it.
just like, I was watching, I just paced her the whole way. I had my eyes on her the whole way. Got her, I got my mother on FaceTime and I was like, look, there's your daughter. She's totally fine because she's watching it.
Of course.
Real time. Everyone's watching it.
Yeah.
Everyone knew. Like 2 seconds after it happened, the whole world knew. And so it was like, it's just like we got together as a family and listen, everyone knows that we have each other's back forever and ever and ever. I really hope that that people stop doing shit like this. I just
for
think
attention.
it's just for attention, and you don't realize the ramification of like your actions. You know what I'm saying? Like the ripple effects of what you do, like what our family has gone through, will go through as a result of your actions. So maybe chill out.
She talked about your Nona,
I know,
and I'm so
my
sorry
Nona,
about
thank you.
the loss of your Nona.
Yeah.
And she said that one of her favorite moments of Nona was when you came out.
Yes, it's a great story.
I would love to hear your version.
Oh my God, my version is a little bit longer than ours. I'll tell you the full story. So I said to her, Nona says to me, I want to have a conversation with you about your sexuality. And I said, okay, Nona, like as long as it's going to be a conversation. She goes, it will, sit down. Okay. I don't think you're gay. And I was like, okay. And she goes, don't you like breasts? And I was like, sure. I mean, I think they're great. And she goes, all my friends say that they love breasts. Me, I don't see what the appeal is, but they all love them. And I said, Nona, are these your straight friends? And she goes, yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I don't want anybody pulling anything up your ass. And I said, Nona, I don't have to do that. Like, with my delusion thinking I would be a top one day. And she was like, oh,
I have options.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I got options. She goes, what are you going to do? Give a blowjob for the rest of your life? A blowjob is bip, 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 and it's over. Believe me, I've been around and I know.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you.
The best. And then Grandpa was the one that when they continued to have the debate with me sitting at the table, whether or not I was gay, the whole family, the full debate over, he's gay, no he isn't. He's gay, no he isn't. He's gay, no he isn't. Grandpa goes, everybody shut up. What are we going to do? Love him any less? Stop talking about it. And that was it. He ended the conversation.
I love
that. Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible.
My grandfather is the one that did that.
How beautiful that your family has your back like that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Bruno Alcantara, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being my guest.
Tracy, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I feel so honored. Really.
I feel honored. It's mutual honor. It's a wild time in the world. And so I always start with this question because things are hard.
It is.
How are you? Like truly.
Making the best of it. That's what comes to my mind. It's actually the last tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Make the best of it.
I
think that's all we can do right now.
Yeah, it's a good tattoo.
Make the best of it. Show up with the best energy possible as you can.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it's all good.
All right. Sweet. Short and sweet.
Hey.
I do want to say you are a little bit overdressed today. I'm not accustomed to seeing you in anything, really.
I bet you can't recognize myself.
I didn't know you would.
I hear that a lot.
I'm sure you do, yeah.
It's for a change, It's for a change. Sometimes I do own some clothes, and once in a while it's just fun to put something on.
But it looks great.
Hey,
it's
I
a
can
good
take
look.
it off anytime. Watch out.
I have arrived at my central question for this podcast, which is, as you may have heard, I went viral for holding space with the lyrics of Defying Gravity. And that really meant something to me because I know that I hold space with certain music or movies that kind of remain important to me through life or that I go back to when I'm feeling a certain way. And sometimes that meaning changes over time. So I wonder if there's some piece of art or music or literature, anything that you hold space with over time.
Yes. In my beautiful journey, I had the opportunity to work with Madonna an
That's
icon,
wild.
right?
That's how many people can say that?
Amazing experience. And it's very inspiring to go back to the lyrics and just think about what she represents. So there are so many lyrics and videos and things that she has that like will empower us
Yeah.
to keep going, to be strong, to don't give up, rise to the occasion and keep fighting. And then talking about holding space and love, it comes to my mind, open your heart to me. Baby,
so good.
I hold the lock,
you hold the key.
Um,
That's like interpersonal relationships,
The tour I was working was Rebel Heart, and that is a song that is very remarkable to me because it was a song that I actually got to go on stage, but it's called Unapologetic Bitch.
Love that.
I think that's a kind of energy that we all could use a little.
Yeah.
Be unapologetic about yourself, what makes sense for you, and, being you.
You talked a little bit about Brazil and missing kind of the energy of people. What else do you miss from your home country?
My family.
Oh, yeah.
My friends. I think the other day I was reflecting on the cost of your dreams. And, moving to another country and it's like starting from zero and being away from everything that you know and from people that you care and love. It's you need to be very strong. And I was so close to my mom. I'm very close to my mom, and it was very hard to be so far, and and that's why I think the idea of chosen family is so important. Those human beings.
You've got to find your people wherever you are. Yeah.
They're willing to love you and hold space for you.
Yes.
And it's very powerful and makes a difference,
Just to have someone I feel very grateful. I have very good friends here. I can pick up the phone and they're there for me.
Yeah.
That's so important because, moving somewhere, I'm from the East Coast, but moving somewhere new, it can be incredibly lonely. I'm glad you have that.
And I do have now people here that I love, that I care, that we meet often, all that. And of course, I am very proud to be Brazilian. Yeah. So, of course, I miss the food. Of course, I miss the music. Of course, the chaotic energy as well sometimes. So, I'm always there. Carnival. Ooh, have you been?
I've not been. Take me, Bruno.
Let's go. It's so much fun.
Bruno, what are you holding space for right now?
What am I holding space for right now? That's a great question. Deep. Of course, I had to expect that. I think it's very important to show up in life being a little patient and understanding. I think the world is very crazy right now. And I think after the pandemic and after the situation with politics and, especially in our community, of course, I think that will get us stressed and out of line. And I just feel like people are having they're a little unbalanced. And I think it's important for all of us to hold space for each other and then be more understanding and then just be kind. It's tough for everyone. And of course, we all show that in different ways.
Right.
But I think I've been holding space even for myself.
Right.
Home,
I think that's correct.
Telling myself it's okay. Do you need a break? Do you need sleep more? What can I do to make you happy?
Yeah.
With me? And then when I do that to me, I think I have more energy available to do that to other people as well. Right. So I think I've been trying to take care of myself, extra care of myself, so that way I can still show up with with the best energy possible. 'Cause that's how I like to be.
Brian Michael Smith, I want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome. I'm always excited to hang out with you and just like chit chat. You're one of my favorite people on the carpet, so I'm glad we got a chance to sit down.
It's always fun to see you. And also, I just want to point out to folks that Brian came here a little bit last minute, and we had to keep changing studios. I've been in a different studio every time, and you were just the sweetest, most easy person to deal with. So thank you for that.
Hey, show up for the people you care about, you know?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Yes,
Yes.
Take it out.
Unlike Amy Poehler, I love a pet in the podcast.
Get into him. Get into his face. He was waiting for this. He was dying for this.
Yeah,
Is there something you want to say about Christmas? You want to tell us what treat, what present do you want?
He's like, I'm wearing a red vest.
Yeah, right? You want to say ho, ho, ho? He said, I don't say, okay, I'm sorry. He's not gonna do that. He said, I'm not a show dog. I'm a holding dog.
Well, I'm happy he's here.
Me too, Charlie. This is my boy. This is one of the best gifts.
He can hang.
You want to hang? All right.
He can hang.
You hang
sure.
right here, okay? So Christmas is great. I'll spend time with her and her family in New York. He'll come with us. And then I try to get to Michigan if my mom doesn't come to New York and spend Christmas Day with her. And we love to do like the dinner. We do the gifts, and then we go to the movies.
I used to love to go to the movies on Christmas.
It is the best. And we would go to like the dollar show because, usually like stuff is cheaper. We go to the mall. And some of my favorite movies I've seen in the theater with my mom at Christmas.
And Christmas.
Yes.
My parents used to take me. This was back in the day, very, very far back. I was obsessed with Planet of the Apes and King Kong as a child. And this is how, now I'm giving away my age. When the Jessica Lange one came out, in the 70s, my parents took me on Christmas Day. That was the first time I remember going to the movies on Christmas Day. I saw King Kong.
Yes.
I've also seen Brokeback Mountain on Christmas Day.
Is that right?
Yes.
What a day. What a treat. You wanted to feel some feelings on Christmas, I suppose.
Yeah, I saw Brokeback Mountain with my Jewish girlfriend, and then we had Chinese food. And
Come on, that is peak Christmas right there. Oh, my God.
I want to ask you, what is your defying gravity? The kind of piece of music or movie, theater, literature that has always been with you and has meaning and maybe changes over time. That thing you kind of come back to for a laugh or solace or whatever it gives you.
Something that kind of like makes me feel like I can do anything, kind of defying gravity kind of thing?
Like that, or, just kind of gives you a little bit of peace when you need it.
I've watched, and I grew up watching so much TV. Like I'm a latchkey kid. Like came from the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And so just in general, going to the movies is kind of like a defying gravity for me. Like when I go to a theater, I'm an AMC like A-lister.
Me too.
Yes, come on, listen. How many movies can I see?
Movie buddies.
You better say that, girl. We're doing that. Yes. All right. So. Anytime I get a chance to go to the theater, but I think one of the ones that really made me feel like I want to be a part of this and I want to go and like find my way into Hollywood and create the similar kind of experience that I had in that theater was Titanic. So it came out in 97. I was 14. And again, I seen a lot of movies. And this one and I was like a Titanic basher at first. I'm like, how are you going to make a movie about the Titanic? Everybody knows what the ending's going to be. This is so crazy. And I don't know if you remember like the news at the time, but it was like, it kept going over budget. It's the most expensive movie ever made. It's like, how are you going to make a movie about the Titanic? And it's so expensive. Like, what are they doing? This is going to be terrible, blah, blah, blah. Like, just was not going to see it. And I remember, came out like December 19th. And I'm like, maybe I'll go see it. I don't know. It's one of the previews that had Celine Dion song. I was like, maybe this might, I don't know. This looks kind of, I'll give it a shot.
I'll see.
Yeah, let me see.
That is one that I saw on Christmas Day.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just remember I went into the theater and I came out and I felt like I had gone somewhere. I felt like I had been on it because, it's 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And I'd never been on a cruise. So even my concept of what a cruise was like, I didn't have everything. And then that time, the Edwardian era, like I didn't know anything about it. So I really felt like it took me somewhere else. And I just connected with so much of the story. The music took me somewhere else. The visuals took me somewhere else. And I was just like, my mind was blown. I had to go back and see it like the next day in the theater. And I'm just was obsessed with it. And I'm like, if something like that can have such an impact on me, like, I want to be able to do that, you know, in some way. I have no idea how, but like, I want to be a part of things that do that.
I mean, that's movie magic. You played a trans firefighter.
Yes.
On that. And this is a big deal. It's a Fox show.
Mm-hmm.
Would you talk about, if you can, encapsulate what that means to you to have been able to put that character out in the world especially for people who needed to see that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a complete alignment of everything that I wanted to do with my life, my purpose, my artistry. You know, even going back to like my days of like playing football, of just knowing what it's like to go through life with a lot of people trying to tell you what you can and cannot do, whether it's well-intentioned or malicious, but you taking a moment for yourself and being who you know you are, you know? And so I feel like I had some quasi examples of that, and I wanted to make sure that I contributed to more examples of that, because, you know, growing up as this, you know, kid in Michigan, thinking I am the only person like this, and thinking like I have to figure all of this out on my own was really isolating, you know, and like it took a lot, and I was able to navigate it. And I'm not saying that I didn't have people who found ways to support me in their ways. Like, there's no way I could have, you know, done half the things I've done without people just being like, I don't know what you are, but I love you. You need that. You know what I mean? And so being able to figure that out through different areas, through athletics and through like interpersonal relationship was one thing, but then it's like, I'm a performer and like I'm an actor and I love movies and I love the screen, and so much about what I know about life and stuff came through movies and through TV. And so I wanted, so it's like, how can I take what I have gone through and put that and add that to the, you know, the tapestry of TV and film. And it's like, I didn't know, because I hadn't really seen any other examples of that. Like growing up, I thought you know, early on, it's like, I think I have to hide parts of myself in order to get to where I want to go. Right. So early on, it was like, I'm just going to learn how to act. And then maybe I'll just, at first I'm going to deny this is even a part of who I am. So like through early parts of college, like, that's not part of who I am. I'm going to put all this boyish stuff behind me, and I'm just going to hope that they can figure, you know, I'll try. My mom was like, you know, maybe you're struggling so much because you never really tried to be a girl. And I was like, you know, I haven't. I have actively fought that this entire time. So maybe you're right. Maybe I need to kind of go with the flow of life. This is what is supposed to happen, and there's nobody else like me. And if there's nobody else like me, that means that everybody must have just accepted their fate and just kind of moved in there. So like, maybe I'll give it a shot. So I tried. So from like halfway through junior year of high school through about halfway through sophomore year of college, I was like trying to be what a girl was. But every time I feel like I would dress as perfectly as I could. I would hide as much as myself as I could, and I would really try to show up and like be feminine and whatever. And like people are like, you're such a guy. And like, what am I supposed to do? You know,
you're fighting your nature.
Yeah. And like, and like the fact that even if I had all this stuff on, even though like I felt like I was in drag, you know, even though I had put all this on and people were still like relating to me as a guy, can you open this? Can you pick this up? Can you do this? Or just talking to me in this way, or, you know, literally just saying you're such a guy. I was like, why am I doing this? You know, like this sucks, because I can't wait to go be by myself so that I can like take all this shit off and just be myself. Yeah. And it's like, when does this end was like a big question in my mind. Like, when does it end? And I'm like, what's the future supposed to be like? Let me just see, like, if I'm in my 30 years old and like I'm over all of this, like, what does my life even look like? And I tried to picture it, and it was like a moment for me, because I'm like, when I close my eyes and I see myself, I always see a guy. Yeah. And at the times I always saw like a boy. And then I tried to close my eyes and picture myself as a woman, and it was such a foreign concept. It was already hard to be trying to just picture myself being a girl, but like to be a woman, I was like, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Yeah. I don't know how to fulfill that. I don't know how to do that. And I just felt really lost. And then it's like, I can't even think about acting and performing, because I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? And when I was even trying to do acting roles, it's like they're giving me female parts, and I'm like, I don't know how to play this, you know? And this is all that, because you have to be able to be seen. You have to be able to be you, and you have to be able to connect to yourself. And like, there's so much blockage and avoiding. And
Right. You can't play a
can't-
character if you're not in touch with yourself.
No. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I realized I have to figure out who I am
Yeah.
and what I am. And like, I can't be the only person like this. And that can't be the only future for me. Like, why can't I just be who I am? When I close my eyes and picture myself, I see like a man with a beard and like, why is that not possible? And it was like, it is.
Talk a little bit about how everything that's happening in Hollywood has kind of steered you in this direction of what you're doing now.
Yeah, I would say being someone who has such a singular kind of experience, and being in a place that can sometimes, for like a industry that's built on imagination, when it comes to the business side, there can be a lack of imagination in terms of who's able to do what and maybe what people think that audiences are going to respond to. So you always have this resistance to other people leading stories because like, well, we don't know if that's going to sell or this might not sell overseas. We don't know if a black hero can sell overseas. So there's always this idea kind of from the top outside of the audiences that thinks like, I don't know about that, you know? And then when you come into the audiences, it's like people are watching anybody. People are really responding to whatever they feel like has some resonance with them. And then the greatest way to take some of the, there's only like 6 kinds of like story arcs and journeys that you can kind of follow in time. So like, what can you really change in the formula? It's like who you follow,
who it
who are you
is,
following,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And kind of what they have to navigate because of who they are, because of their upbringing, or because of their background, right? So as a creative person, if I wait for somebody to think about me for this other kind of role, I'll be waiting for a really long time, whether we're in this time of contraction or even beforehand, right? Like there was this nice moment where the pendulum seemed to have been swinging more towards diverse because there was a recognition that diverse stories sell. Like people want to see different people in the lead roles, like leading stories.
Because we got Transparent and Pose.
Yes.
Pretty much about 5 years. Yeah. And Gen Q came out around that time.
Right. So like people realize like, oh, people want to see this. So now they're throwing money that way and they're hiring people and they're like, this is great. And then, when it feels like, the people they don't want to see this, there's a contraction, there's a pushback to this, then let's pull back the funding for these kinds of things. Right. And I think when you start to consolidate the people who typically fund things into like 1 or 2 or 3 companies, it's really they all have that same mindset. It's going to be really hard to kind of break through,
which is happening right now.
But if you look at the history of Hollywood, this is kind of how it always goes, right? You had the studio system who, first there was no movies, there's nothing, and then it was like some people came out and they started to make movies. Then they built like studios, and then they sort of consolidated in the studio system. And it's like only these people can get the contracts, and only that. But in the meantime, you had independent filmmakers making movies for that. Like you had black filmmakers making movies about black people. Like people are going to figure out a way to do things, and then you go, oh, people. There's an audience for that, and they're spending a lot of money going to these theaters. What stories are they going? Let's kind of like mine it. So either we can pay those people to do those stories, we can take those stories and do our version of that story, and then it kind of goes. Then they decide we can't do the studio system. We got to break this up. So now you have more independent theaters and things like that. And then you
and TV. Yeah.
So they broke things up. So then in the 70s you have all of these independent like directors really making these like gritty, amazing films. You got the Spielbergs and you got the Scorseses and the Van Peebles, and like it went independent, right?
Well, and that came. I'm a little bit of a film nerd.
Yeah,
but they were kind of taking a note from the French New Wave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And realizing like we don't have to go through the system. We can just make what we want to make with the people we want to make them with, and then the people with the money are like, what are they watching? Let's get some money. Let's give them some money. And then you go through the 80s, and it's another period of like a lot of money's going in to the studio things. There was more studios. The independent things that sort of came out of the 70s, early 80s were like getting funding, and they started to consolidate again and conglomerate again. And then you had a similar sort of like strong studio system. And then the 90s, like, we're going independent again. Like, let's figure out a way. Things get digitized.
And we got new queer cinema.
Exactly. Exactly. And then you go from...
I love this, Brian.
Right. And then it went digital. And like, so now even more people have access to do things. So it's cyclical. And the answer has always been independent. And that's what leads the charge and leads the way.
You're making me feel better about things. You're not here for that, but you explaining this, I know this in my heart that it is cyclical, but hearing it from you, it's really kind of calming because
and
it doesn't have to be forever.
It never is. Like even when you look at like just culturally and even like, you know, for like trans and queer people, it's like we've gone through this before. We've gone through worse. And so, and
we've gone through almost like nothing, having nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can do it.
Yeah. Hi, welcome, Nicole Pacent. Thank you so much for being here at Holding Space. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for asking me, Tracy. It's so good to see you.
It's good to see you. It's been, I think the last time I saw you was at the GLAAD Awards in 2023, maybe?
2023 would have been it. Yes. Yeah.
And it was cute to see you then.
It was a fun night. It was cute. It was kind of a fun and crazy night. But yes, it was so good to see you.
I mean, as they are.
As they are.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, so I have known Nicole. Where's my camera? That's mine. So I have known Nicole for, I don't know, 15 to 16 years. And I can't remember how we met. Do you remember?
You know what? Someone was asking me this the other day, and I was like, I don't know. It was She Wired. It had to do with She Wired.
Yes, of course.
That's all.
I interviewed you.
Yes.
That's what it was.
And I'm like, I don't know when the initial introduction happened, but I remember that you interviewed me, and that was when we became friends. And then we would see each other at Dinah, et cetera. So that was how that happened.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, because my poor pandemic brain.
All of us.
So, Nicole, I've got a central question that I ask.
Okay.
And I've arrived at it. So, based on my viral interview, what is your defying gravity? The piece of music, theater, movie, TV, literature, whatever, that has been most meaningful to you, that you keep coming back to, and that may change over time?
Oh, man. Oh, God, this is such a good question. Okay. Well, only because now I'm in musical theater brain.
Please.
We're talking about Wicked.
I am always in musical theater brain.
Okay. Because I have like, you know, we could talk film, we could talk just music, we could talk, we could talk whatever. But okay. It's going to be Rent.
Of course.
Rent,
Yes.
frankly, was so, it's hard to actually, in today's world, contextualize just how groundbreaking that musical was, and just how ahead of its time.
It was 1995, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing like that. That was like so unapologetically queer and diverse racially, and I mean, it was, and just the like, it being a rock opera was not obviously a new thing, but certainly not something that we were seeing all the time.
Right.
And for me as a teenager in theater at that time, it was everything. But it was for me as like a young queer teenager on the outskirts of New York City, to me, it was like this sort of North Star of what it was going to be like when I moved to New York and I could be like a queer person in the world.
Oh,
That was so that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think over time it has remained such a beautiful testament to friendship. And as I've gotten older and I've seen it again, different contexts and whatever, like different parts of it have hit me differently. Like their fight for housing,
right,
and fighting for people without homes and their own inability to pay the rent and things like that. These things that feel like we're artists getting pushed out of their spaces so that people can come in who have made more money and whatever. And you see the way in which, honestly, since then, New York has changed that much, but it's happened everywhere. And so it has that like political activism and for me too in it. It's just, it's everything.
And one of the things I've always appreciated about it, especially, I know that the movie is kind of panned, but it came out in the early 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah.
And at that time, there was this like erasure of any story talking about HIV/AIDS. And then when that movie came out, I was like, it felt so validating in a way.
Yes.
Because it felt like, oh, we're just going to skip past this and pretend that it never happened. So I really actually appreciate the movie for that.
That's such an excellent point too. And I feel, having been somebody who has sat in support group rooms, like deep grief support group rooms,
Right.
Where people are just, it's the only place they feel like they can break down and talk about what's actually happening in their lives and internally and all of that. The scene where they're in the AIDS support group is that song, like the Will I Lose My Dignity, Will Anyone Care? You know, that whole thing is like every time makes me cry. It's so beautiful. And I love that we had such an open conversation about it in such like a pop culture phenomenon kind of way.
Yeah.
Yes.
It can't be understated.
No. I totally agree.
Well, thank you for your answer. Oh, one
Such
little
a musical
follow-up.
theater kid answer.
Oh, please. One little follow-up.
Yes.
Are you a Maureen?
Marina. Okay, that's a great question. I would say I'm honestly kind of a little bit of all of them.
Okay, fair.
Of all of them. I have certainly sung all of their songs. Yeah, I'm a Maureen in that, like, I have to be the star in my relationships. I mean, I'm just being honest. My partners know this about me, that it's like, okay, but we know there's only room enough for one actor in the relationship.
You can only have one star in any situation.
And it's funny because my partners are consistently, well, I should not say this about my ex-girlfriend was an actor, and it's actually amazing that we complemented each other very well, but that's the only time that I've dated an actor where it actually worked. But otherwise, my partners are behind the camera.
Yeah.
They're the people filming and I'm acting. So it works out.
Do your thing.
So in that way, Maureen, yes. But I've definitely got some of the uptightness of Joanne, and I've got Mimi's like wild side too.
Yes.
So it's kind of.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway. I love it. The dojos.
Oh my God. Yes.
It was my favorite place. And I spoke with, you know who else remembers dojos? Kate and Leisha.
Oh, really?
Because they were in New York in the 90s, and it was like the place to go. It was the cheapest food.
Yes, and it was delicious.
Delicious.
I still remember.
The carrot ginger vinaigrette. That was Leisha gave me that memory. I totally forgot.
I was literally just about to say I remember the carrot ginger dressing. It's such a distinct, like, not just flavor, but like consistency.
It was so good.
It was so good.
Yeah. Anyway, I just had to ask.
Blast from the past. Yes, I totally remember. Yes.
I want to move on to earlier in your career.
Yeah.
The reason I interviewed you would have been for Anyone But Me.
Yep.
A very popular Sapphic web series that came out in 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you played queer. You've been playing queer
my whole career.
Your whole career.
Yep.
Would you talk a little bit about what that meant to you at that time? Because, I mean, we'd had the L Word.
Yes.
We'd had South of Nowhere.
Yes.
We didn't have Glee or Pretty Little Liars or Orange is the New Black or anything at that point. So this was really toward the beginning.
Very much.
And would you talk a little bit about what that meant to you and some of the fan feedback that you probably still get?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyone But Me is like, it was like the little web series that could, and it really kicked off everything for me. Like it completely colored my.
It was really well done. The production values
very well
were
done.
Great.
It was very well done. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was a product of the 2008 writer's strike. Really? Yes. Okay. So that was a big part of why it was so well done, is because we had television writers who couldn't write for TV at the time.
Okay.
But the web was the Wild West. You know, it was completely uncharted territory. There were no union rules around it, nothing. I mean, people would be like, I remember when I said, like, I'm in a web series, they'd be like, what's a web series? You know, it was really the beginning of that. But a lot more popped up because of the writer's strike, because writers were like, okay, well, now we don't have rules anymore. We don't have anybody telling us.
Susan Miller?
It was Susan Miller, yeah.
Yeah.
And Tina Sessa Ward. And we basically writers started trying things that, you know, where networks would have told them, no, we can't have show about teenage girls in love. We're not going to do this. And they were like, well, no one's here to tell us no, that, you know, we're on strike, whatever. And so the show, when I got the audition, I got it through the NYU listserv. And I had really recently graduated, and I saw that it was from writer-producer on the L Word. And I was like, oh my God. Yes. I was like, oh, I need to, what is this? What is this? And so I read it, and I read the breakdown for my character, which was the supporting lead, Aster. And I was like, this is me. So it's me. Yeah. And I wrote like a very passionate letter to them about like, this is a show I wish that was around when I was in high school, and I would just love to audition for this, and you know, and sent it in my headshot and whatever. And I found, I can't remember when they called me in a week later, 2 weeks later, and I found out that apparently like my submission had come in late. Like I guess the listserv didn't send out the audition until after they had already like closed the whatever. Yeah. But my letter, they were like, well, I guess we have to see this girl.
See, like, you did your extra credit.
I did my extra credit. And from a place that was so genuine. That was really just me being like, no, like this means so much to me, you know? And so so I read back and forth for the lead role of Vivian and my role Aster, and got Aster, and which was the right role for me. And it just, man, it went 3 seasons. Then we did like a bonus season a few years later. It really was incredible.
Remind me of who the actress was who was the lead.
Rachel Hip Flores. She was great. She's wonderful.
She was really good.
Wonderful. And she's a wonderful person. I love her so much. So it was kind of crazy too, because I remember when we started doing press, when we were about to, Tina and Susan were like, okay, so you're gonna get asked if they didn't even use the word queer at the time though. Like this is before queer. If you're a lesbian or if you're a bi or whatever. You know, we just want you to know we support whatever. If you don't want to make that public, like we understand, you know. And I had a girlfriend, the girlfriend I was just talking about at the time. So then they'd met her, so they knew all that. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be public about it. Because even at that like young an age, I had already experienced to some extent, like when you are yourself, authentically yourself, you give other people permission to be the same. Right. And I was like, I can't keep preaching that and not be practicing that. And I always had trouble not practicing that. Much to my mother's chagrin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I am who I am. Like, this is what it is, you know? And so it was I knew I would say that. And so as a result, then I got invited to events and things like that. But it was, but what was amazing was the fan feedback we were getting, like, and that I was getting, and the DMs I was getting even at that time of how special it was, not just to see us in our story, but also the knowing that I was actually queer was a big deal. It was, it is a big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
It just didn't happen very often. I mean, if you even go back to the L Word, Alicia was the only regular who was out at the time, or who talked about it. I mean, Kate was out.
But didn't really
talk about it.
Yes. That makes so much sense. That's so true.
Yeah. It's kind of
such
wild.
A different time. It's so, it's hard to describe how different it is now. Yeah. But it just, to me, I was like, well, if this pigeonholes me, this pigeonholes me. Like, it is what it is. I'm just going to be who I am and whatever, you know? And it's funny how then later it started to work in my favor. It was like working against me, and then it was working for me. And I'm like, this business is just, you just got to be yourself.
You just got to be strap in for the ride.
Because the trends are going to change, and you be you, and eventually the business will catch up. Like, you know
honestly,
what I mean? That's ridiculous.
Activist for bisexual causes for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you were married. I don't remember which year you married your husband, but
2017.
Okay, 2017. And you had to address some kind of backlash against it because people, I guess, questioned your bisexuality at that point.
At that point, oh man!
I mean, I know.
Yeah, it's been for
by
a while.
Erasure is forever.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. Is
how
like,
do you address it? Because there's also that part where, I mean, you've dated women, so you know there's like lesbians have this kind of fear, maybe.
You know what? Every bias comes from a fear. So I mean, that's safe to say that's a fear, whether that's a conscious fear or not.
Right.
Yes. Oh my God. And it used to be like, I remember when I first moved out here, it was like completely and perfectly socially acceptable to be out, you know, in WeHo or whatever and be like, oh, I don't date bisexuals.
Right.
I will not date a bisexual woman. They can't make up their mind, or they're going to leave me for a man, or like, I don't fuck with that, you know? And and it was, and, you know, at that time, like when I was young, in my early to mid 20s, I was a lot more afraid of it. I think I knew it was unfair. And I started after a few years being like, at correcting people, because in publications people would say I was gay and I just would let it slide, because also like we also would be like, you know, referred to each other as gay in an umbrella way anyway. So it was like, it was fine. And
yeah, it used to be an umbrella term,
yes,
and now it's not.
And now it's not, but it was. And so I was like, nah, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, but then I started realizing, like, I was like, well, I also don't want there to be a false narrative out there. And I started becoming much more aware of like anti-bisexual bias and bi-erasure. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna actually insist that people say bisexual now in publications, if they're going to identify me, my orientation. And so since I started like claiming it more from that standpoint publicly, I've gotten just like more and more and who cares about the haters kind of thing. But it was a real point of fear for me for a long time, was I felt like I couldn't post anything. If I was dating a guy, I couldn't post about him. I couldn't, you know, like I would be out and about and like be very cagey about the pronouns of the person that I was dating.
So,
I mean,
so you had to go back in the closet.
Yeah,
a little bit,
which is like wild. That kind of like where you're like, don't you see that I'm doing what we've been fighting against for so long? But anyway, and you know, every once in a while I'll still get something, but for anybody who's done that, there have been so many other people that have come forward and been like, oh my God, I'm so glad. Like I'm a bisexual woman and I've been married to a man, and either I'm coming to terms with this now, or this has always been true about me, but nobody sees my identity and everyone thinks I'm straight, and it feels so alienating, especially people who don't live in cities with queer communities. And I've inserted myself very purposefully in queer community for my entire adulthood. It's people that I gravitate towards naturally, but it's also just a choice in being very out as I've been. And so like, I recognize that not everybody has that opportunity. And it has been really amazing over time to hear from people who are like, you know, thank you for specifically the bisexual representation in hetero-presenting relationships. Yeah. So it's like, for all the haters, you get other people who feel seen. So that's been my approach. But it's still something I grapple with. And it is a little easier, is a weird way of saying this, but it is easier in a way for me because I'm polyamorous. And so I have been consistently in relationships with either queer females or queer identifying people at the same time. And so it's like, I don't want to say that gives me an out, but it makes it so that I am very visibly queer in ways that other people who are monogamous and in hetero-presenting relationships are not. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for that. And then also, you mentioned the polyamory part of your identity, and I think now we hear much more about polyamory, and certainly, I think with gay male couples for a long time.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I'm hearing more from sapphics who are polyamorous.
Yeah.
But you were doing this and out about it before.
Yeah.
How did you know you were polyamorous as opposed to, I mean, because it was so not the thing.
No,
and
not
so,
the thing.
Like, how do you know, oh, I'm poly, I'm not just like have a wandering eye or something, right?
It took years. Well, it took years, number one, because I had absolutely no language. I mean, like we talk about for all kinds of, we're talking in the realm of relationship orientation now, but we can talk about that for sexual orientation or gender orientation. Like how many of us just did not have language or examples that we saw anywhere to say like, oh, what I'm feeling is valid or is something other than wrong, and so for a long time, I was like, I have trouble with monogamy, and like there was a lot of shame around it for me. Then there was a realization of like, oh, is this very intertwined with my bisexuality? Is it about, feeling like not wholly satisfied if I'm with one gender or another gender or whatever? And in that, at that time, I was only thinking about it as a gender binary too.
Right. Hi, Alexis. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
honestly.
thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. It's been over a year now.
Yeah, whoa, that happened fast.
2024. Out 100, 2024.
Wow, okay. I blinked and the year changed
2025.
Twice. Yeah, that too. that too.
I mean, so to that end, with everything that is going on in the world and the ups and downs of life, I do like to start by asking, truly, how are you?
Oh, thank you. And I don't always take a beat to like think about what the answer to that is and then answer that. But the truth is, I'm well. I've taken some time at the top of the year to go up to the mountains in Lake Arrowhead with my dog and just
What's your dog's name?
Zaya. Her name is Zaya. She's a big old mix. And she's about 2.5 years old now. So she's like right in between puppy and she's like a teenager.
I love that.
I love that for her. She loves that too. But yeah, we just took some time to be creatures of the natural world. And I felt lucky that I've gotten to start the year slowly. And I'm hoping to kind of integrate a sense of slowness into 2026 because the external pace is exponentially accelerating. So.
It hits. Yeah. What I was getting at that point was I did that interview 2 days after the election.
Yeah.
That song was changing its meaning, even for people who had loved it for 20 years. So my question to you is, what is your defying gravity? What is the piece of music, art, film, TV that's been with you throughout your life and that changes over time?
Yeah, that piece is so beautiful. The evolution of something you love all of your life.
Yeah.
There's this song off Chance the Rapper's album Coloring Book, which I think is a perfect album.
Yeah.
And it's called Blessings Part 2. And the verse is this delicious cultural centerpiece of Black spirituality, of the South, but also just kind of human relationship to the things we love in our lives and the things that give our life a soft sense of meaning and connectivity and purpose and the deliciousness of togetherness over generations. And then it transitions into this refrain that has a lot of my favorite artists on it, Anderson .Paak, PJ Morton. And it becomes this kind of ritualized chant in itself.
Yeah.
And over again, he says, are you ready for your blessings? Are you ready for your miracle?
Oh, that's good.
I
don't know this, but I'm going to listen to it.
Please do. I encourage everybody to like sit down with a warm cup of something you love to drink and drink it in. But it's such a beautiful reminder. And I love that it's a question too, and how that bubbles up all of this personal insight and reflection, at least for me.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that it isn't always about having to work excessively hard to get what you want or having to climb some sort of proverbial mountain to get what you want. But it's more about being in the space of what you want. And that does often require work, and often the work is unlearning, relearning.
That's the thing. Like being in the space is almost harder than climbing the mountain sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's stillness and that's reflectivity, and sometimes that's asking for help, and sometimes that's introspection. It takes a lot of bravery, I think, to go inward and to relax into a place where you're like calling in what it is. And that idea of like, are you ready to receive it? Like, do you have the container to receive what it is that you want? So I just love that call to being as opposed to call to doing.
When did that song come into your life?
The first time I heard it, I was just sitting at home, I think listening to the album in its entirety on my computer, which was not the plan. I had planned to like put it on and sort of enjoy it while I was getting some things done. And then it was one of those albums where I was like, I'm actually sat in this chair and I'm going to receive every word of this. And when I got to that song, which is like at the end of the album, it feels like the whole album in some ways like priming you to receive the medicine of that.
Yeah.
And then it became my on the train song in New York, like on my way to an audition, on my way home from an audition that maybe didn't go so well. Or after I saw a play that like lit up a part of me I didn't know was asleep. I always return to that song when I want to kind of like download some wisdom or some energy that felt inspiring or like it was calling me towards a new adventure. And then I will never forget the time I heard that song that really clicked for me, that it was like this kind of bigger presence in my life. I was cleaning my room back in New York and I was lighting some candles, kind of moving some energy around and playing the album, got to that song. I remember pausing what I was doing, sitting down and just like let it land. And when the song finished, I turned over my phone and my phone was ringing and my manager was calling to let me know that I was going to be working on Inventing Anna, which was one of the most...
God, it was pivotal.
Certainly for me.
Yes.
Certainly for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's like chills worthy.
It's one of those songs. It's one of those songs that I think is like maybe other entities are speaking to me through that song, but it lives, it has a life of its own in my life.
You also spoke in that interview very eloquently about your dad's identity and how he came out to you when you were about 12 or 13.
It was a bit later, actually.
and your brother.
Yeah, like second year of college. So I think I was
so
maybe,
later. Okay.
Yeah, 18, 19, something like that.
How did learning about your dad's identity, if at all, kind of affect your coming into yourself?
Yeah, I think it gave my whole family a new relationship to self-permission. And there was also something significant about it coming from him, I think, because he very much was sort of the tone setter of the family dynamics, I would say. And because of his background and his profession, it was, and also because we were all sort of on a mission as a family. My brother and I were running around after school activities and trying to do our best in school. So there was like a lot of kind of drive to know the system, follow the system, execute, Yeah. And so it was significant for the kind of figurehead, if you will, of our family to share something so vulnerable and true about his identity, and then watch all of us kind of just accept with a lot of joy and relief. I'll never forget how much of an exhale I felt physically, like as if I had always known on a cellular level, perhaps.
Right. And you just want your dad to be happy.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I remember him sharing in that moment that his sort of reorientation to coming to share this truth was also about him recognizing that there is nothing more important than that. And again, having come from a culture that was kind of achievement based, it was a moment of medicine for everyone to have this kind of major reorientation that the purpose of life is to enjoy it.
I really love that, because that your family just embraced, right? And individually didn't make it about themselves.
No.
Because I see so many, I came from a divorced family, and I was always like watching these shows about kids whining and crying about their parents getting divorced. And I wasn't that way. I wanted my parents to be the happiest they could be.
Yeah. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that.
Yeah, I felt the same. I think, and maybe also that was having been raised in and around the arts, but there was this sense of if we're not doing it truthfully, it's probably not worth doing.
Right.
Because there really is no freedom like the freedom of being yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Did the two of you bond over queer identity once you spoke with him about yours?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably still have conversations to share around that. It's funny because, vulnerability is a muscle, I think, and a skill very much. And it takes time to develop that quality in a relationship, or it can when you're sort of redefining the relationship in a lot of ways. And I think we're sort of navigating those waters now, even just as I am coming more into my sort of selfhood in my early 30s. I still feel like a baby who's
You
like just
are.
learning
You
how to
are.
walk.
But trust me, early 30s is baby.
Okay,
In the
that's
best
good.
way.
Yeah,
Honestly.
it
Enjoy
feels good. No,
Yeah.
thank you. But it does feel like I just kind of like popped out, you know? So I think with that, like, you kind of redefine a lot of your relationships, it seems. And my dad actually just moved to Palm Springs maybe a year ago.
So he's a
or
neighbor.
something. Oh, yeah. And that's really cool because I'm seeing him much more. You know how like when you catch up with your parents when you don't see them a lot, it's kind of just like, here's the catch up of what I've been up to. Here's the catch up of what you've been up to. And by the time you finish comparing notes, you're out.
You're not learning more about each other.
Yeah, at least for us, it wasn't ever in a super deep way when we were seeing each other so quickly. But now when we can like have lunch even and then I'll see you in a couple weeks, there's like a whole different rhythm and tone to our conversations. So I'm excited to keep like learning how to relate to each other in that way.
I love that he moved to Palm Springs.
I love that for him too. And now we've got prides to go to.
Yeah.
We've got queer comedy to
What is
see.
it, Hunters? And
Yeah, that's right.
There's a piano bar.
Yeah, the piano bar. No, we have like memories to make. So
You got to sing together at the piano bar.
oh man, I would actually love to give that a go. I know.
So you mentioned after inventing Anna, you come to Gray's and you get to work with legends.
Total.
Chandra Wilson, Ellen Pompeo, James Pickens Jr., Katerina.
Yeah.
Is it Scorsone?
Scorsone.
Scorsone.
Yes.
Love her. Love the Kim Raver, like
Yeah.
Kevin McKidd. What a cast.
Oh, really?
What was it like walking onto a set with just really like stalwart TV stars?
Yeah. I mean, of course, my body was like littered with butterflies.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the first person I saw was Jim Pickens. And he knew I was from Cleveland, which I didn't expect him to know me from
That's cute.
Adam. But
Yeah.
he immediately sort of has that welcome home energy. And that only continued to be found on the grounds of Gray's. And
Yeah.
Katerina's now a neighbor of mine and a dear friend. She just texted me, but like a dear.
Tell her I love her.
I will. I will. She'll be thrilled I'm here. But
Oh, good.
yeah, she's like a sister, and I can say that quite honestly about truly everybody on some level. Feels like family.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, behind the camera, across the board, it's a place that I exhale when I go every day. And I know how special that is and rare.
Yeah.
So it's been really significant to call a place like that home, and for it to feel not only, again, like a place full of like really world-class artists on every level, but also really kind people who want to show up for each other.
I love that. I'm going to go there, not yet, but about how they showed up for you. But I want to touch on the fact that Gray's, obviously from Shonda Rhimes, has always been inclusive of BIPOC and queer people, various abilities, and to this day, unafraid to tell important stories abortion stories, immigration stories. What does it mean to you to be a part of that legacy of storytelling, especially in 2026 with things the way that they are?
Yeah, that is my favorite part about the job, quite honestly, is that it's a space that actually runs towards the tension of the moment and is kind of born from that place. And I think does a really powerful job of infusing those conflicts into the world of the characters such that it's something they can't run away from or turn their back on.
Right.
When you're in a position of service, which of course the medical industry at its best is a place that serves the wellness of people. And the world of Grey's prides itself both in the show and in the making of the show as a place that welcomes people of all gifts, of all origin stories. And I love that each week we are doing our best to not just say the buzzword, but integrate that story point into the fabric of the long-standing characters such that they're having an impact on the structure of their world and emotionally, but also in terms of like how the hospital keeps its doors open in times of strife, whether it's climate change and we're experiencing a heat wave and there's an influx of patients, but also the hospital's becoming a place that's not safe to work. And I just really appreciate how detailed the show's willing to go in terms of how we impact each other.
And it always feels authentic to that world. It never feels like, I don't mind a good kind of eat your vegetables story, but it never feels that way.
Yeah, it always feels, and because I think it isn't afraid to be kind of messy about it and complicated about it and get personal and connecting to the emotional piece is always big for me. It's like, how is the heat wave impacting the quality of conversation Bailey and Ben are having? Like how is it making showing up for yourself and the people you love harder? How are these things that feel sometimes far away, like really, like rocking the wave of our life? And
there was a scene with your character Simone and Nico's character. And you were breaking up. And you were over a body fighting. Or like sniping, not really fighting.
Just a day in the life.
Oh my gosh.
I'm holding space for grief. And I don't mean it necessarily in like a dark, heavy way, but I am holding space for it not being okay and it not always feeling okay. And for when it's hard to smile through it, or be positive all the time. I'm holding space for the challenge itself and the disappointments and the letting down. And I think it's essential that we let it land when it's when we're hurt and we're betrayed again by individuals, institutions who aren't showing up for us in the way that we perhaps showed up for them or that we were told they would show up for us, so that we can grieve together, heal together, and take care of each other in whole, authentic ways and messy ways, and find new ways of taking care of each other as we heal and grow. But first, I think we have to be honest about the impact. And make sure we're taking the time to grieve, acknowledge, rest, and deeply recover.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for listening to Holding Space with Tracy E. Gilchrist. Holding Space with Tracy E. Gilchrist is a main character production hosted by me, Tracy E. Gilchrist, produced by Joao Del Stella, co-produced by Mason May, editing and sound by Nick Walker, and executive produced by Joao Del Stella